Konami have just released the most broken combo deck in the game, and we're here to profile it. Stay tuned. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're doing a deck profile for Darkwing Blast, Dracoslayer Pendulum. This is my first Pendulum deck, and the Dracoslayer guys look so cool. The extra deck monsters are amazing, and the cards themselves are really, really strong. And of course, that means we're going to do a profile for them. I am super excited. So many non-hard once per turns, which means you can loot monsters like the Ignister and go crazy. This is a great going first board, a great going second board, a really strong Psyflock as well, which is a version that is flowing around out there. But in this version, I'll show you what I'm playing and what I think should be the standard for Dracoslayer. So starting off with the monsters, we are of course running the 3 Ignis Phoenix, the Dracoslayer. This is your star of the deck. When destroyed by battle card effect, specials a Dracoslayer from the deck. Treat it as a tuner as well. This card can tour out your Majesty Maiden, which is the next card here, allowing us to search any generic field spell and then discard a card. So you can tech in Necro Valley, you can tech in Sky Iris, which is the main tech, I guess just main card. And you can also try the new, I believe it's called Dragonic Pendulum, the new field spell for Dracoslayers, making this deck really scary because it searches an Omni Negate or sets up an Omni Negate. Ignis can also, its Pendulum effect, search any Dracoslayer monster from the non-Pendulum Dracoslayer monster from the deck, which searches the Omni Negate boss monster, which wasn't as popular before, but I think with the new support, can definitely be run as a main deck version. Majesty Pegasus has an incredible hand trap style effect. Discard this card, quick effect. Your opponent cannot target or destroy your Dracoslayer monsters by card effects. And that just enables us to have the most, I guess, resilience to hand traps like Imp and Veiler. As well as when the opponent is comboing off, we can discard this card and protect our Dracoslayers, which is really powerful stuff. Next up, we've got Dynamite Power Lord. I like using this card the most out of all of them. I think its effect is really cool, allowing us to special summon a Pendulum Dracoslayer from the Pendulum Zone, which means we can just, cheat out any monster we want. We can cheat out the Majesty Pegasus to search a field spell like Sky Iris, or we can bring out the tuner Dracoslayer monster in order to go into Ignister Prominence, sorry, which is really powerful. Next up, we're running 3 of Luster Pendulum, the Dracoslayer. This card is kind of a standard in the Dracoslayer engine. It's a tuner, which you can bring out with a lot of the cards we just mentioned before, and gets you into your Ignister Prominence. Next, we're only running 2 Master Pendulums. I was running 3 for a lot of test hands and combos, but I found I didn't really need the third one because it doesn't do as much as the Luster Pendulum. It just means you don't really need to run as many. Next up is Audaz Revolution Dragon. This card is, man, there's so much you can say about this card, but I think the best thing about it is it's not once per turn. Can search any Dragon Pendulum monster that's level 8 or lower from your deck by discarding it, but its Pendulum effect, I believe, is not once per turn also, which means you could destroy it in the Pendulum scale, special summon the Ignister Prominence that you've just used as maybe link material or fusion or exceed material, and that means you can keep going with your combo because Ignister Prominence is a soft once per turn. I'm gonna say it's tech for now because I don't think the standard version runs this. So with the new support, it's so easy to get into Masterpiece, the true Dracoslayer. Of course, we all know what Masterpiece means, but we've never seen this version of the card. This version of the card is essentially an Omni Negate and is really easy to summon with the new support. You need a Draco Overlord and a Dracoslayer in on the field. And again, that's really easy because of the field spell, bringing out a Draco Overlord. Ignis Phoenix searching the Dracoslayer makes it very easy to bring him out. Performer Power Scroll, Cobalt Joker. This is probably a standard in any Pendulum Performer Power style deck. On summon can search a Performer Power monster or magician, and you usually search the Harmonizing Magician. Running the 1 Performer Power Monkey board to basically complete the scale. As a scale 1, it means you can pendulum anything you want, and also it can search a Performer Power monster, which is pretty clutch. And next, one of the more powerful cards of the deck. It took me a while to realize why people play this, but after comboing off, after playing the deck online and testing, I see the power level of this card. This card, special summon from the hand or pendulum summon from the hand, can special a Magician Pendulum monster from the deck, meaning you can bring out your Purple Poison Magician, and she's also a tuner as well, so it means you can go into the Ignister Prominence. Just remember, when she's used as material for anything, the other cards have to be Magician Pendulum monsters. Purple Poison is kind of the, I want to say, the X factor of the deck, because when destroyed by a card effect or just destroyed in general, it can pop a card on the field. That's not once per turn. So if your opponent negates it, destroys it, it goes to the extra deck face up, and then its effect triggers. Then they destroy again, let's say a Baron or something. It goes to the graveyard and it still pops. It's really funny stuff and really powerful card. Running 2 Babunkus, so it searches Magispector monsters. Majesty Pegasus is treated as a Magispector, which means we can search it, which is amazing. So that card is really strong. And then we are running the, apologies, I am going to have to proxy this card. This is not a Trap Eater, this is actually a Fenrir. Fenrir is the new all-around standard card that everyone will be running in their main deck as a 2 of or 3 of. Personally, I'm trying it as a 2 of because I want the consistency. However, you can use it as a link extender, a link body, because on special summon, after being special summon, can search a copy of itself essentially, which means you can get another one in hand for follow-up, or you can just leave on the board and act as a crazy disruption. Also, it's amazing going second because it banishes face down. And guys, that's been the monsters. I think what I found really interesting about this deck is there's barely any traps or spells, which is ironic because it's a pendulum deck which are spells. But we'll go straight into the spells now and talk a little bit about those. Okay, so moving on to the spells, we're gonna start with Draco Face Off, a card that, you know, is limited. Unfortunately, didn't get unlimited off the ban list, but it's really cool because you can choose a Draco Overlord and a Dracoslayer monster from your deck, and your opponent chooses which one goes in the scale and which one gets special summoned, which means, again, it's really easy to bring out the boss monster masterpiece because of a card like this. Sky Iris is the card we usually search of Majesty Pegasus because it can destroy a card to search the Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon, which is, you know, I've explained the card, it's busted, it's bisted. And then the next card, Dragonic Pendulum, I put this in the main deck last minute because I had a few spaces, the masterpiece line. I think it's a good idea to run this card because, again, it can special the Draco Overlord straight from the deck and you don't have to worry about how to get it out. And it also gives an attack piece, which is kind of nice. And the next cards we're running are just consistency cards. Duelist Aligned, which I really like using. Can search any pendulum monster or a pendulum spell or trap, which, by the way, searches the field spell. So you kind of don't need terraforming. And then another consistency card is Dynamist Charge. When a Dynamist card goes to the extra deck, you can add it to hand. Dynamite Pilot has a similar effect himself anyway when distributed for Dinoster, the fusion. But it's just another consistency card. I could argue this should be taken out for reinforcement of the army because Ignis Phoenix is much more important than to the masterpiece line. But for now, I'm going to keep going with this card. I think is pretty decent. And then last card, we are running so many 3-ofs in the deck. Sure, there are some 1-ofs, but we can get to that before we do Desires, to be honest. And for that reason alone, definitely got to run Pot of Desires as an amazing consistency card. And guys, that is the main deck. It's such a weird style of deck in terms of deck building. You really just throw like 30 monsters into the main deck or 35 monsters into the main deck and chuck in a few consistency spells and you're good to go. It just goes to show how powerful the deck is and why I think cards like Dark Ruler and Nibiru, maybe Sphere Mode, can really take this deck to the top. Okay, we're going to move on to the extra deck. This is easily my favorite part because we are going to talk about Ignister Prominence, the blasting Dracoslayer. You could argue the whole deck is based around this one card because of how powerful it is. Because you can abuse the soft once per turn style of this card, it means you can keep summoning it, keep popping, keep shuffling, and keep special summoning. So Ignister Prominence is amazing for that. And then we're running the other cards that's part of the, I want to say, Dracoslayer family. It is Dinoster Power and Majesty Paladin, the Ascending Dracoslayer. So one thing to know about these cards, if you use his effect to summon a monster, it can't be used as material for a fusion, and vice versa for the Synchro and Exceed. That's okay because you can just use those bodies for other types of summoning, especially link summoning. And when these cards came out, they didn't really think about link monsters because they went out. You can bring an IP, Zealantis, and a very special Link 6 card that I'm also running in the extra deck. But these cards are great. This one special summons from the hand or graveyard. This one special summons from the extra deck and just means you can always have something going for you. And the next cards we're running are some link monsters. You know, Beyond the Pendulum is so important, such a staple for any pendulum deck going forward, and is our Electromite proxy, you could even say, which sounds really funny. But no, it really kind of is, because without Electromite, this pendulum wouldn't really thrive as much, could not compete. Because we have Beyond the Pendulum, we can search any pendulum monster in the deck, which is kind of crazy because that means you can search anything in your deck. We are playing so many pendulum monsters. You do have to pay 1200 until you pendulum summon. Effects of pendulum monsters are negated, but that's okay because we're going to pendulum summon, right? So that's really strong. And next we're running some Link 3s, Nightmare Unicorn and Selene, and we do run some interesting spellcasters. I think some I've ended up taking out, but I'll mention them now. We have the monster that can fusion summon, or that's performed by Magician, I believe. And then we have the other card that on summon, if you control a synchro monster, I'll put up on the screen, your opponent can activate monster effects. So there's a lot of scary Magician cards or spellcast cards we can run. You can take some cards out of this deck for those and have the same or similar type of success. And we're running some crazy Link 4s, Apollosa, World Dragon Zealantis. So Guys, we got to talk about Zealantis, man. This card enables so much for the deck. Going first, going second is 2500. Can use one effect monster to summon it, which means a link 4 goes into a link 4, which is just super weird. Usually bridge into it with Celine though. And what this card does is banish every monster in the field and then summon them back to the field in face up, face down, defense position and also attack position. I believe you can choose the opponent's monsters too. But what's the craziest thing about this card and why I think it was made for Pendulum is you can reset all of the fusions, the extra deck monsters for Dracoslayer, and then use all their effects again, Link Climb and OTK, or just set up a crazy board. So that's why Zealantis is amazing. Apollosa is just kind of standard in a deck that has so much link material potential. So that's why I run her. And here we go, guys. This is the fun part. The Arrival Cybers Ignister, because this deck can spam a lot of monsters on the field, because there's a lot of attributes shared amongst the field, that means this card is really easy to summon, and everyone's played against Ignister at this point. You know how scary this card is. It's literally what the whole deck climbs up into, excluding Access Code Talker. And I just thought to myself, wait a second, why can't I run this? Zealantis is a link for water, IP is a link to dark, and then the extra monsters, they're all different attributes. All the monsters are different attributes. So it's just a no-brainer, honestly. And I can't wait to test this card and actually summon it and see just how scary it really is. Because it's the kind of card that the opponent will deal with the rest of the stuff. But if they see this card, they're gonna have no idea what to do. Now we are running some interesting, I want to say, extra deck monsters. We're running the Abyss Dweller, Elder Entity Entis, and the number 41 Beguska, of course. Beguska's great in the Pendulum. Sorry, Beguska's great in the Floowandereeze matchup if you get interrupted, but also other matchups like Branded, etc. Abyss Dweller is just a meta check for Elements, and Entis. Entis is the showstopper here, because this card, we actually summon it legitimately in this deck. We don't summon it with like Instant Fusion or anything like that, because we can do Synchro Exceed, special at level 4 from the hand or graveyard, which means we can also get to our Draco Overlord if we need to get into the Masterpiece. But really, it's just there as that kind of tech card. With Dagda, you can activate Dagda, set Scythe, overlay this into a rank 4. That rank 4, like Abyss Dweller, detaches in the draw phase, looks the opponent out of the graveyard, but also, because Entis is detached, it can destroy a card in the field, pop the Scythe, win the game. And the last card we're running is number 38. So of course we're running a lot of level 8s. It just means we can easily access this big boss monster, and is a no-brainer in this deck, to be honest. Okay guys, so that's been the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We went through the main deck and extra deck. I haven't done the side deck yet because I'm still exploring it. I don't want to share something that I haven't tested myself yet, but you can run some generic cards to take out the anti-spells like the Cosmic Cyclone, the Tin Twister, and things like that. Also, you can run the Ariadne Solemn Judgment package in the side deck because you can search it, meaning we have an out to Darkling No More and other crazy spells. So that's really interesting. And I think the craziest thing about this deck, I've already talked about enough, is the fact we can abuse all these soft ones per turns for a card like Ignister, go into a lot of link bodies, have a lot of extenders. The whole deck is a starter card, which means any 5 cards can give us any crazy board we want, and means we can play around a lot of disruption as well. I'm very curious how this deck will play against Tournament, and I'm really excited to start taking it to locals and tournaments. And that being said, guys, I thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to drop a like, helps the channel get noticed, helps people find out about it. We are, of course, trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so if we can get there by the end of the year, that'll be amazing. Anything you want me to talk about with the deck, anything you want me to explore, would you like some dual commentary to go with this video? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm also going to be uploading a Dracoslayer combo video right after this profile, so expect that coming very soon. And with that being said, guys, I'll catch you at the next one. Peace.